Hi everyone, welcome back. Update on the RV10 progress for you today. But before I get started, I wanted to remind everybody EAA Homebuilders Week is next week. So there's speakers all week long from Monday through Friday. I'm really honored to be part of a cadre of really great speakers, very knowledgeable speakers during the course of the week. I'll be giving 3 presentations. Tuesday, I think there's one on getting your home built across the line. That one's near and dear to me right now. I'm sure it is to many of you. I'm also doing one on pre-buys on Wednesday, and then we're closing out Home Builders Week, 8 p.m., date night with Charlie and Vic, and we're going to talk about common maintenance and builder errors. So it should be fun. We'll put the schedule on this video because you won't remember those dates, so Carol will add it so you can read it and see what they are. But you don't have to be a member, for those of you who aren't EAA members, to actually watch everything next week. They all will be recorded. For those of you who want to watch the archives, if you don't have time during the week because you're working, you do have to be an EAA member to go back and watch those on the archives. So either way, they're accessible and it should be a lot of fun again. So let's talk about the RV10. I think the last time when we left off, we were working on fuel tanks. What a mess. I think the Pro Seal is finally wearing off of our hands. It did not wear off of our clothes. To Carol's best ability, it does not come out of clothes. But anyway, they are done. They came out really nice. These, again, are the Sky Designs extended range tanks. So I think they got about 42 gallons of capacity. So we got them all done. We let the Pro Seal cure for about 2 weeks or so and then pressure tested. So what I've done the pressure test, rather than a balloon test, I happen to have a pedostatic tester here. I just use it for leak checks. So I pump it up to 200 knots. 200 knots is about 2 inches of mercury, which is basically about 1 psi. So pump it up to 200, close all the valves, and it's holding very nice, as you can see. It did not hold when I first tried. It was very, very frustrating. Got the soap bottle out, could not find any leaks till I got to the fuel cap. And so it was a fuel cap leaking. I've since tightened that up, and it's holding steady pressure now. And so that gave me enough confidence. I'm going to walk you over and show you where the other fuel tank is and the kind of testing that's going on with it. Okay, so here we are with a fuel tank up on sawhorses, and this one actually has fuel in it. We've got about 32 gallons of fuel in this one. I will finish filling it up today. We've had it in there for about almost 40 hours now. No leaks, so pretty excited about that. Now listen, if you're going to test this way, some precautions. I've actually attached a ground wire to the fuel tank. I've left one spot of it bare, so when I walk up to this fuel tank, I ground myself. You know, it is winter season and dry air and a lot of static electricity in the environment. So please pay attention, especially if you're doing this inside. Ground it, okay? I put a vent line on it here, actually a tube on the vent line just to allow for some expansion. And again, 32 gallons of fuel. And I put an ohm meter. You can see it over there about halfway down. I tied the fuel senders so I could actually watch the ohm meter as I put fuel into the tank, and they worked. So we went from about 128 ohms empty to around 50 ohms, I think, with the 32 gallons in. So that's working as well. So pretty excited about that. And so I'll fill the rest of this one today. Probably let it go a week, and then I'll put the other one over here and do the same thing. So good news on that front. So let me show you some other good news too. So guess what? I'm sitting in my chair that I got for Christmas, my Viper chair. I think I sarcastically said last time I hadn't got a chance to use it because Carol was using it to help me rivet the wings. Well, guess what? This time to do the bottom side of the wings, they lay flat on some sawhorses. And this chair was just absolutely wonderful with the backrest, big wheels. It rolled so nicely across the ground. It's got aluminum shavings that seem to always stick on the other wheels. But enough of that. Let me show you what's really exciting here. So let's go to this one first. So I don't remember where we were at last time, except between then and now probably I've prepped both wings to have the bottom skins put on permanently. So what does prepping the wings mean? So everything's been primed. The wing skins, you can probably see the wing skin right down there. That's all primed. Everything's primed.
So the non-prime side is showing, so.
Anyway, it's all done with the Eastwood primer. And then it's a matter of putting all your wiring in there. It's a lot easier to do that now. And then don't forget some things. So you can see here at the end, I've pulled all of them to the end and tagged them So when I put the connectors on, so we've got things on this wing is pretty crowded actually. We've got things like pitot heat, and we'll talk about that USB here in a bit. But don't forget, you guys, for those of you, it's an option to put the aileron trim in. I would encourage you to run the 5-conductor trim wire and put it over here on this first inboard bay that's accessible. If you're not putting the trim in when you're building, you're going to want aileron trim on the RV10. Got big long fuel tanks out there, and there's a big difference between flying solo and flying with passengers. So I really like having the aileron trim. I encourage you to think about putting it in there. The next accessible bay out, you want to put your OAT, your outside air temp probe in, so don't forget to run your wire out there for that. For those of you who do forget and you end up putting it on your fuselage, and then you want to tell me how fast your airplane is, because you're going to pick up warmer temps on the fuselage. All that warm air coming off the cowling and exhaust heat kind of wraps around the fuselage, so you got a spiral airflow there, and you will get a higher true airspeed riding, which throws off a lot of other calculations besides how fast you are. The wind, wind speed and direction is all calculated from true airspeed, ground speed, etc. So it's all about getting things done right and accurately. So put your outside air temp in. We come further down this way, and you'll see where the pitot tube is broken out, as well as the red tube here is for the angled attack probe, which will be on the pitot tube once it gets installed. Don't forget to put your pitot tube here if you're going to use a nice Dynon heated pitot tube or something. And you can see one of the things I do here is I actually add a little angled piece of aluminum there just to give that a little more stiffness so you don't get any skin cracking with this vibrating in the airflow. I've also run wires out for landing lights. If you're going to use the ones that I like to use, like the Fly LED 7-star, some of you've probably seen the columns I've written and shown you. They're just super bright, but they do require 14-gauge wire, so it's much easier to pull that wire out here now. And I know what some of you are thinking, really 14-gauge? I will tell you, I actually did some testing when I had the lights installed in my other RV10. And wire gauge does make a difference in the lumens. I actually tested it with a lux meter, so it's more than a subjective opinion. And then don't forget your wires for the nav and strobe lights out on the wingtip as well. For those of you maybe running zip tips or something, you might have some extra wires in there as well. So this was all prepped and ready to go. And by the way, once you run all these wires and everything, I would encourage you to walk away from it for a bit. I know I did. Just a matter of timing, but overnight I thought of a couple of wires I missed. So it's good to think about it. I also ran 2 wax string wires, all the way through the airplane wing here, just in case down the road I want to pull an extra wire. And by the way, you'll see where all the wires are cable tied going through each wing bay here, but the wax string wire is not cable tied. I will pull it tight at each end and cable tie it off, but it is not tied to any of the other wire bundles, so it will pull through freely if needed. So that's that. And now we'll come around and look at the other wing here. You can come around this side. And so guess what? Here is the right wing, and it's completely finished with the skins now. And really excited about this. A couple things I'll tell you. I actually lost my riveting partner here in the last couple of weeks. Not forever. She's still here, Carol. You've seen her doing some of the riveting. We've been writing the Alaska book. Many of you have been asking us. I know some of you are headed to Alaska soon, this summer, next summer. And so we've spent a lot of time, once I think December started, working on the Alaska book as well. So I've been writing all the content. Carol's been spending probably 4 times the amount of time I've been spending on it to make it look first readable, presentable, and make it flow really, really well. So I think you're going to be really happy with that book. The goal is to get it finished during the month of October. In March, not October, I'm sorry, I'm really rushing the year here, but during the month of February, because in March we're going to do an EAA webinar. It's already on the schedule on flying to Alaska. So we certainly want to have the book out by then. We're working on it. So for those of you who are going to Alaska soon, it should be a really good guide. We're putting all kinds of things in there, like flight plans you could cut and paste and put in a flight, and just help you with a lot of the routing, all things like customs. It should be a good guide. So that's that. What I was going to tell you though, I lost my riveting partner, and I thought, well, I'm going to have to wait till she's finished with the book because she's on a mission. But I came out here one day and I got started riveting. I thought, well, I think I can rivet this small inboard piece by myself. And I got that done by myself, and I just managed to continue the entire length of the wing. My point being, I think you can really rivet the bottom skins one person. So that's really exciting. So I've got this all done now. I'm going to start on the other one. Once we get that skin on, by the way, I know you're wondering how long it takes. It took me a good couple, 3 days to get the skin riveting on. There's a lot of rivets here, and it does go slow. And my arms are a little sore and bruised, okay, but it did work. And so I'm going to get these skins finished. We'll finish that other fuel tank, leak testing it. Then we'll temporarily mount the fuel tanks and then work on the aileron actuation, which shouldn't take too long, and then move on to the fuselage. I'm really looking forward to doing something different. So the wings are a lot of repetition. They're big, but they're almost done. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope many of you will join us next week for the EAA Homebuilders Week. Have a good weekend.